So here I've got a 2023 Ford Transit, and in this video I've got a rattle in this door I'm going to try to fix. So what I found is when I'm driving, there's a rattle somewhere in this door and it feels like it's coming sort of more at the top of the door. I don't think it's the plastic clips behind this door card, because none of this is rattling when I bang it. However, while I'm driving, if I put the window down, I think it's a little bit better than it is when the window's up. And if I shut the door, which I didn't do properly then, there's a bit of a second rattle when that slams. So I don't think the passenger door is doing. That sounds a little bit better. But this van is only 18 months old and it's only done 1,266 miles. So it's still like new really. Yet we've got a rattle in the door already, and my suspicion is that it's the rails that the window slides down in, and there'll be a bolt or two in here which will be loose. And I've seen the same on the Peugeot Partner and Citroen Berlingo vans. Even when those are new, they rattle as well, and it's one of the bolts down here which doesn't have Loctite on from the factory, and they work loose, and that window support rail rattles on the inside of the door against the metalwork there. So I'm thinking it might be the same on this one. So what I'm going to do is take the door card off, film it as I go, and see if I can find anything that's loose in this. That will help others, because if this van has got a rattle after only 1,000 miles, then other transits will have the same at some point too. So I've never removed one of these before, but I've had a look online, and what you've got to do is pop out the cover there to expose a screw. There's one down there in the handle, there's one there in the phone holder, there's one behind the handle there, and then there's also another one behind that light there, and there's some screws underneath, and I've just seen in here as well there's a screw there as well. But with this van being so new, the most important thing here is not to chew up any of the plastic, so no screwdrivers here. I'm only going to use plastic tools. That one up there was the hardest one to remove, but they are only bits of plastic like that. They're all the same, but the middle one here is smooth, and that one again is textured the same as the other one. So if you just lay it out on your seat in the same order, then they're all going to go back in the same place. The one behind the handle there looks like that. So I tacked it from this end to pop it out. And then your reflector down there, I thought that was a light, but it's just a reflector. That was quite stiff, but I popped it out from that way, like that. And then these are all 7mm heads. Apart from this one here behind the handle, and that's a T25 Torx. Then we've got to pop the door card off, because the rest of it's held in place with clips. So that's the door card removed, and I don't think I've ever experienced clips so stiff. I've really had to put a lot of leverage to get these clips out of the door panel. So you've got 3 along the speaker side, 3 along there, 1 up at the top there, which is still in the door here. And then you've got to release the door lock or door handle cable, and then 3 wiring looms from the switches. And then next I've got to remove this, because I want to get inside here. So this stuff tears very easily, so I'm going to do this off camera, and I've got to get it away from this either glue or get the glue off the panel. I think I'll run a knife all around, but this stuff tears really easily, and I'd rather not tear it, as this vehicle is still like new. So very carefully I'm running a blade round here to cut that glue. So now with that membrane removed, it exposes all these bolts, which is holding the window mechanism in, and it's all of these that I need to check to see if any of them are loose. So I've checked all of these bolts, checked the screws holding the speaker in, the screws there holding that handle in. I've also had a look under that grommet, there's nothing there. I've had a look at the door handle in there. I've tightened these up as well. Also the screws there holding the trim on the other side of the door, and so far all of them have been fine. 90% of the viewers of this channel are not subscribed. I'm sorry to ask, but it would help greatly if you would. Just press the subscribe button. It's free and it shows YouTube you like this sort of vehicle related content. If you want to be notified when new videos are released, please click on the bell button also. Thank you, it really helps more than you would imagine. And if I tap all of these and give it all a wobble and the rail in there, none of it feels loose. And the mirror's not loose, and in this case the rattle does seem to be like it's coming from this side of the door. But so far I can't find the culprit. So I can't find a rattle in this door. So I'm starting to think maybe it's not in the door, and maybe it's just the top of the door here. Is it rubbing against the door seals? Is that what I'm hearing? But without an additional latch up there, you can't do anything about it. I could maybe bring this latch in a bit, but that's not the problem down here. This is all flush. So there is a bit of play there. And it's this rubber door seal making the noise. So is that the issue I'm finding? Is that just a transit thing? So I guess the next thing I could do is lubricate all of this and see whether that stops any of the noise. So you could lubricate these door seals with a silicone spray or use a proper rubber lubricant like that. And I got this on Amazon and I'll put the link to it in the video description below. But apart from that, I can't find a rattle. So I think it's just the door flexing. It's such a tall door. And it's only latched here, so I might try sliding the latch in by a millimetre or so. I think it's just a bit of play. It's not quite tight enough against these door seals. So I'm going to put this door card back on and put all this back together. So this video, I suppose, isn't going to be a great help, but anyway, it might stop you doing the same and taking all this apart, trying to find a rattle down here that doesn't exist. So I'm putting the door card back on. Just make sure all your clips on both sides are all lined up before you thump it home, because it's all too easy for a clip to be slightly misaligned and it not to pop back into place, and then you start breaking clips. And then putting this screw in is all too easy for the screw to disappear down inside the door card, and you don't want to take it all off again. So what I'm doing is just holding the screw into the socket with a bit of masking tape, and then that will allow me to put that in and not lose the screw. So I've lubricated these door rubbers, and to my surprise that's made a huge difference. It hasn't stopped the rattle completely, but I would say it's reduced it by about 50%. Because this is the electric transit, it is so quiet, and I'm wondering whether that's half the issue, because there's no background noise at all. This is an incredibly quiet van, and the slightest rattle is very noticeable. But clearly lubricating the rubbers has made quite a difference. But obviously this is a transit thing. There's a bit of flex in the top of the door because these are such tall doors. So what's your experience? Do your doors rattle on a Ford Transit? Let me know in the comments below.